Here in the essence of gratitude, I am so happy to be back here with my power crew. And today I have a special guest with me. I have Jen from, oops, let me get my screen together. Jen from Crafted Evidence. Hi, Jen.
Hey,
Oops.
Amy, you went
Hey.
mute for a second,
Oh,
but you're good now.
okay. How long did I go mute for?
Just a second.
Oh, well, I hate this mic, so I'm just going to put it out there. I hate this mic. It's the worst mic I've ever had. I need a new mic, so there it is.
I'm putting my life preserver on as we get on the boat to go to Watts Island here.
Okay. And I need some, I just need new stuff. And I also made a coffee for today.
Cheers.
Cheers. Cheers to the audience. How is everyone doing? I see we've got people in chat. So let's say hi to some people. I see Debbie, and Debbie is doing a 1 for us because I put up before we went live. I said, hey, everyone, who thinks NK was at the Watts house that morning? Type a 1 for yes, a 2 for no, and a 3 for I just don't know.
Hey there, Kelly. Hey there, Jamie. I think that's that we were talking to.
Hi, Jamie. Jamie says, we don't. It's sunnyish and kind of warm for now. It's really nice here in Florida. Is it nice where you are?
Yes. Today's supposed to actually be the warmest we've had all year. So I am looking forward to going and laying in the hammock later today. Once we get off the island, of course.
Yeah. Well, of course. Hi to everybody. I'm sorry if I missed anybody else. Hi, Me Wise Magic, Sandy. I think she went there after. Oh.
I'm doing my attempt at streaming both.
What do you think? What do you think she was there?
You know what? I'm going to be the not liked opinion. And I'm going to go with I don't think she was there. Because I do believe that she was investigated a little further than we are able to see. And why I have that determination is I have reached out to the Rusick family. And I wasn't able to do an interview with them directly, but someone who is very close to the family has reached out to me and told me they were able to see a lot of evidence that we were not shown in discovery. And you have seen there's people who have theories that the Rusick family was paid off and the DA was paid off. I mean, we could go on and on about conspiracies, but I think if anything, maybe the cell phone ping that morning was maybe her creeping around, like spying to see if she saw Chris and Shanann giving each other a kiss goodbye. Just, like being kind of creepy. But I'm not convinced there's enough evidence to show she took part in the crime. If that makes sense. I am, I'm trying to find the facts of the case, but then also we had that conversation about the FBI is not today, but years ago they were taking tips, right, from people who, served time with Chris. And if they weren't still interested in the case, then why would they be interested to hear more?
I'm a solid 3. I just don't know. I think like 90% of the time she wasn't there, but then there's just all the weird stuff about like the ping and the FBI stuff. And so it always like circles back to like, I just don't know. I would like to know, but I don't know.
Something interesting that Chris has that, when we do these dives again, you always hear something new that you didn't hear before, in interviews. And Chris made a point in his interview on television to say, the doors were locked, so no one could have taken her out back. Or, you know, like he made a point to bring up that there was an exit going out back. And a lot of people have this theory that the girls were taken in the front in the garage, but Shanann was taken out back by whoever may be involved. So I'm just kind of like wondering why he kind of brought attention to the whole backyard in that interview.
Yeah, because I've heard that too, and that and then the sliding glass door, people are like, but how did the sliding glass door get locked? And I've heard that's because they had been going in and out of one of the windows in the basement,
Right.
particularly
Like
the one with the Mickey Mouse thing up in it, that they had been using that kind of as a door, and so that they would have locked the sliding door and then went out the basement. I just have this weird feeling like something did happen in the basement. I don't know what did, but I think something was going, like something went on in the basement.
Yeah, I'm checking out our chat. How could he fit all three in the back of the truck? It seems too small. Yeah, a lot of people have done videos on kind of, you know, dissecting the back of that truck as well. Something I keep going back to is how he was able to fit them in the holes without doing too much damage to their bodies.
Well,
I keep wondering, like, or did you put
there
them?
was damage. I mean, he did do damage. He did do some damage. Like he had to break some stuff to get him through there. If he got him through there, like there's also the theory that he put him below, like went
Right.
through the hatches.
Because in the autopsy, you know, it's, you know, it doesn't really go into detail about broken bones or anything like that. It does talk about Bella's struggle when she was being smothered. But then I'm wondering, like, I don't know how the whole machine works. If he were to put them through the bottom, wouldn't oil spill out? Or is it just a little, like, you know, I would have to like understand the concept of the layout to really.
Yeah, I don't know how much, if any, oil would come out if you put him down below. And it seems like if you did that, you would have to definitely have some kind of assistance to, I don't know. Like I can't, like you, I can't comment on that too much because I don't know how the whole oil thing works.
Right. And we know that hole was 8 inches, right? So like he put a plate in front of him to describe it to Coder of like, this is how big it is. And
well, even
Coder's like,
the dad did too.
yeah,
The
wrap his
dad.
brain around. How did you do that? A lot of people in the comments are saying she came after. That's something I've thought about too. Did Chris do all this and then in a panic ask for help? But I have, like, I just rationally can't understand another female being okay with someone doing this and not thinking one day he could do this to me.
I don't know. I don't know the name of, I can't think of the name of the case, but there was that case where this guy unalived his girlfriend or something like that and called the person he was having the affair with, and she came over and cleaned up the townhouse and apartment. And so there's just some women that do those things. And this is just all our opinion, all alleged for entertainment purposes only. She's not been charged with anything, and we're just having a conversation about it. I feel like she felt like she was in competition with. I was thinking about this the other day because, like, she was in a triangle. She was in a triangle, and Shanann was in a triangle, but Shanann didn't even know she was in a triangle. And I have a feeling like once she found out she was in that triangle, she was like, F this, I will not be playing this game. But Nichol was playing the game.
Sure.
So
I'm sure there is an extent that Nichol felt power over taking this man away from all of this, right? Like, remember when she said to the police, he has all of this and you want to be with me. And I think that that also made her feel powerful, unfortunately, where she kind of almost got like a high off of this, or what is like endorphins from it, from the whole situation itself.
Yeah. I'm sure. She was somebody that liked the competition. She liked to be, she was the choose me girl, pick me girl.
Yeah.
And that's just, they're just, we all know these type of people. But does that make her a murderer? No, it doesn't. So it just means that she made, for sure, bad choices,
Poor decisions, right?
decisions. And at the very least, that was it. She just made a bad choice. Like
In the
probably
comments,
the worst choice of her life if she's innocent.
oh yeah, I mean, you're living with this forever. And you know who also is living with this? Like, okay, someone mentioned Jim in the comments. Can you imagine not having anything to do with the situation, but your name gets brought in and people for 6 years keep throwing your name in there? And it's like, I do know Jim was investigated. The interview may not be in the discovery, but he was investigated. They did check where his phone pinged. I do know that. Um, so, you know, a lot of these theories that Jim was involved, where was Jim, blah, 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 that was investigated. So I can't even imagine what it would be like for someone like him. But from what I've gathered, Jim is still living his life. He recently got a new geological degree in 2024. I'm curious if he's friends with Nichol still, you know, after her actions have kind of attached his name to it and brought all this spotlight on his life.
She seems like a real drag to be a friend with, because like after her being spotted at her friend's mother's funeral, like I mean, and then I think during the whole thing, her friend's dad passed away. So, I mean, that was advertised. I'd be like, man, really rethinking my friendship with her, because I would not want my name brought up continuously for this case. But I mean, it is what it is by now, I'm sure.
What are your thoughts on people who think, and I always try to base my opinions on not just this case, but all cases on the facts. And a lot of people are saying, oh, she's into witchcraft and she was in the ODT. And I'm like, okay, show me that evidence, you guys. And I think the only piece of evidence I have is that they say she made a phone call to her spiritual advisor. Now, just because you have a spiritual advisor does not mean you dabble in, you know, magic and spells and all that. It might just mean that, you know, you believe in psychics or mediumships. And maybe she called her spiritual advisor that day and said, is he going to pick me or is he going to pick her?
I think the connection to that is more her father. And I think also just people, a lot of Christians believe that, like, if you dabble with crystals, or like you believe in even white magic, that you are into Satanism, it automatically
Right.
goes into darkness, because the only light in their opinion is Christianity, which I don't see it that way. We've looked at her
Right.
being a possible witch repeatedly, and I've had a hard time. I haven't found anything. um I've not even found anything really of this supposedly drink that she was giving him. I've heard rumors of this reportedly, that she was giving him some kind of drink, and it led back to the form of witchcraft she belonged to, but I've not been able to prove it myself, but we've looked into it.
Yeah. And, you know, I have an issue with what is Chris's idea of dark stuff, because I consider myself to be kind of a new age person. I have, you know, rocks and crystals because I think they're pretty. Um I like doing yoga. I like doing meditation. And I can see where some people might think that's dark stuff. but
Oh,
it's
some people do
right.
definitely 100% think it's dark stuff.
So I'm
I've heard of people say it.
does
Even
Chris think
yoga.
that that's dark stuff, or like,
Yes, he does.
yeah, give me your example, Chris, of what dark stuff is, because I would consider Nichol to be new age. You know, she was into yoga. We saw the yoga photos. If she is also into crystals, she was into geology. So of course she's going to be into rocks
Mhm.
and a
In
lot
nature, she liked being outside, so
and a lot of people think that crystals can have healing power. And I think it's the same as if you believe prayer has power and words have power, then why can't you believe a rock could have power? You know?
well, I think like the rocks have the power in that it's the energy that the earth put in it. I mean, there's like crystals move time, like move watch, the hands in a watch. So I think there is something to crystals in that they do admit power. We're learning that everything is just energy and,
Yeah. And energy
so
has
I've
power.
even heard Christians say that they want to take back the crystals from the New Agers because we shouldn't be able to have those. When all these years I liked, if I had a crystal on me, I was like deemed a witch because I had a crystal. So I mean, times are changing, things are changing, but people are always going to, I think uh, esoteric things are dark.
Yeah.
Some people are.
Like,
So.
could you imagine you and I going to a yoga class carrying our mats and people thinking we're going to do like an evil ritual? Like, that's what I
Oh,
want to know. Does Chris think that?
I'm a nightmare with yoga. I am so on I cannot I can't even touch my feet. I'm a nightmare with yoga. I've just so I can't.
Yeah. That was
So people
one.
do, like, I went to a yoga class once and I'm sure every single person in that yoga class just wanted me to leave because the person was just concentrated on me trying to get me to touch my toes. So
Well, I hope that they were open to it and they remembered the first time that they tried to. I would love to ask Chris if I had the opportunity to ask him questions. That would be one of my number one questions. What is
yeah.
dark stuff to you? What do you see as dark?
And I
Um,
think he loves to do things like, oh, and I'll never tell a soul, and she was a Jezebel, and she was dark beyond words. Like, I,
yeah,
just,
I'll take it to the grave. What do you take?
yeah, whatever, Chris.
I
Okay, so
yeah.
sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off.
No, someone in my chat said, why would they leave it out of Discovery? I'm gonna be honest with you guys. There's a lot of things that don't get into Discovery, and just from this is my own personal experience. If you're new, I'm a former journalist, so I'm very familiar with police reports, requesting reports. Sometimes information gets leaked to journalists, things like that. It may not end up in the Discovery, but that would be to protect people. For example, let's say that they did call Jim and Jim said, I am not doing an interview with you until you legally document that you're not going to put my name in that Discovery. And then, they sign the paperwork, he signs the paperwork, boom, okay, now I'm going to talk. And then if they put his name in the Discovery, Jim there has a lawsuit against, said agency. But I do believe, and I know there are things in Discovery or things that are not in Discovery that won't be put there that happened in the investigation process of this case.
I've never heard that before. I've heard that things don't get in Discovery like during a trial if like it's a child or it's a murder victim, like they won't release photos and
Yeah.
stuff, but I've never heard them say that they wouldn't release an interview.
Well, if you think about, everyone is kind of throwing around that word protected witness, I think
Well, there could be that. But it would have to be like,
I think Jim was smart enough to negotiate up front to keep his name out of their mouths.
maybe
If
Jim
that's
isn't maybe Nicole's father was smart enough.
Yeah,
but I don't think Jim is.
I don't know where his connections are, because from my background on him, he has an electrical engineering background. A lot of people think he has some government, background in law enforcement, and he does not. He was in the military at one point, I think, when she was younger.
I think her dad has connections, and I'm sure, like, if she's been friends with Jim for so long, and I'm sure they were protecting Jim.
Yeah, like a son. Yeah.
Okay, so let's get the screen together. So we did have I don't know if she didn't reply to me. I don't know if she wants me to say her name, so I'm just gonna call her Kelly. Sent us, she's one of our viewers, and she sent me some screenshots, and she said, I'm quite honestly shocked that nobody has ever brought this up, which I don't know if anybody has. I mean, we could be looking at something that people have already brought up, but she says, hello, I'm shocked. No one has seen this. Definitely two types of shoes, and the one with the white shoes has a white emblem on the t-shirt on his right arm. So she's taking us back to this footage here. Let me get it up on the screen. She's taking us, and guys, over here, you guys can have I accept all opinions. You don't have to believe what I believe, and I don't have to believe what you believe. It's always just a conversation, because I just don't think you can 100% know that she did it. I mean, look at what we're doing even with Chris Watts. I mean, look, everything he said, and we're still questioning it. So I think it's okay to have differing opinions here, and I hope that you guys are cool with that too.
Agreed. I think that's called adulting. And as I get more and more of doing these live streams, I'm noticing that there's drama, with this case. So I'm the same way with you, Amy. I'm open to your opinion, and I respect anyone's comments, questions, as long as they're not being mean towards each other, in the comment section.
And I can sound very sure of myself, you guys. I can, because that's just who I am. in the next breath, I could be like, you could show me something, and I could be like, oh yeah, I see that, and change my mind. So, or I'll say things like, you should do this, and I literally never think anybody should do anything they don't want to do. It's just like, I'm saying, this is my opinion, Right. But I never believe that you should believe how I believe.
Yep, just
it's good to know you're the same way.
Absolutely.
Yes, Jamie says, I've learned to question everything at this point. Exactly. Okay, so she's taking us back to this footage. This is the nosy footage from the garage camera footage. This is the night where Chris was walking back and forth repeatedly from the garage. He pulls his truck up. Let me get it up to where he's walking back and forth. Oops, there's music. Let me take the music off. We will put the links to everything that we view down in the show notes. Let me speed it up too.
Sure. I have a hard time with a lot of the footage out there, where people say they can see her walking. And the reason I do is because I requested these videos myself from doing a Freedom of Information Act request. And I have slowed them down myself. I have brightened it up myself. And in the video I am not seeing these things. So I do feel there are pieces in this case that have leaked out that have been edited. And I see where people are taking clips and making it where you can see a body walking. But when I look at my own video given to me by the Frederick, Colorado Police Department, I'm not seeing what they're seeing, if that makes sense.
Yes, we're going to, before we take a look at the photos, we are going to, I have some things put up from some various channels. This would be one of the ones that you're talking about.
Okay.
This is, and also these are channels that I'm pretty unfamiliar with, so I'm not supporting them, and I'm not doing, I'm just showing you their content, and I will put the link down in the show notes so that you can go and go to the channel and visit it and make your own choices and look at the videos. Today we're coming to you on YouTube, Facebook, and Twitch. Hi, everybody. Be sure to give us a thumbs up, a like, a love, however you're doing it on the platform you're viewing us today. But this is Miss Jade, and she has a video. Who is she? So you can see they have taken it and they've blown it up. In actually seeing this, I actually see the ponytail here. This is like the first time I've ever seen the ponytail. So I don't know if it's one of those altered. And Miss Jade, if you're watching, I don't know. But I actually do see the ponytail here.
Right. And I'm not saying that Jade or any of these people who, are posting this are the ones editing, the content. I think they're just sharing it just like you and I are. But I'm telling you, these same time codes, I'm slowing down and I am not seeing this on the Frederick, Colorado video.
Well, we'll have to, I don't have it prepared, so I can't do it for you now, but we'll have to do that. And we'll see, but let's play it and see. I don't know. Okay, so
my video. So this is a video that I had told some people I was going to upload for them. Now in this video, it shows
it's playing, so it's just going to take a moment for her to walk out, I guess.
The morning that he was seen loading his family's.
Because I don't hear anything. Oh wait, there it goes.
And it just.
Oh, you do?
Yeah.
Of course, but
why can't I hear it?
I don't know. Rob had the same issue a couple weeks ago. That's really interesting. You can't hear it, but I can.
Oh, okay. Well, I hope it's.
But I'll tell you. Yeah.
I don't need to hear it. What is she saying?
She's kind of just describing. I said I would do a video like this, and
in slow motion.
She's going to come out in slow motion.
Okay, I'm gonna just play it then.
Yeah, I'll let you know when she finishes talking.
What I see, and I'll play it for you a couple of times.
And she's going to play it a few times for us to watch. Okay, so yeah, that looks like her. And I'm not going to lie. Yes, it looks like she's got the purse.
She's, in the ponytail right there.
That she's wearing in the interview with Frederick Police. But I'm just going to be honest. You could alter this. I mean, like, this stuff happens. Because I want to see it. I want to see it in the video I have.
I want to pause it, show you exactly where I see.
Even the walking is different. It's just, I even, like, we were talking about, I don't know if it was you or Rose, with the funeral, and I wanted to see how she walked, but she's even waddling kind of like how she walked at the funeral. This is kind of a waddle walk.
Yeah, she does have a unique walk, doesn't she?
She does.
I can see
yeah.
her hair is slicked back into a ponytail.
I saw this video too, that Truth Untold did, Nichol Kessinger walking out of the garage. Now, I don't know if you watch any paranormal videos, but this is a new contraption that they've been using in paranormal videos that, hold on, I lost my place where I was at, that they do where it measures your gait.
Okay.
Oh, more music. Hold on.
Now, that's interesting to me because, with MS and everything too, we have our own unique gait and walk.
Mm-hmm.
So this is interesting.
So the way men and women walk are different. This has music, so there's subtle differences between a man and a woman's walk, which is true. And I've like watched walking videos before because I'm really into Bigfoot. And I've watched those videos of Bigfoot walking and its gait, and it's different than a man's walk. Is this still music? Yeah, still music. These differences are referred to as a person's gait. I've said it, I just said gait a few times. Oops.
Amy, could you imagine being a part of a case where people are literally making videos about the way you walk? Like, you know,
No, I can't.
dissecting it down.
Dude,
So
I have a weird walk. I have a weird walk
well, I
because
do too. Yeah.
I mean, but I've always had a weird walk because I should have had braces on my feet when I was younger. Like my
Mhm.
cousins had it, so that my knees didn't turn in, and it's not like horrible, and people don't like stare at me. But when I was younger, I got made fun of for it, and it just I'm really self conscious about it. So I cannot imagine somebody doing a gait video
Yeah.
for me.
But that's all because, you know, everyone is just so trying to connect the dots because none of it makes sense.
Yeah, I thought that was Carol. I thought that was weird too because you know that they did test runs and they were moving the truck all over the neighborhood, so
Mhm.
just to figure out where the cameras were before this, or Chris
He
was
was,
to figure out where the cameras were. So I think it's very strange that she would just be walking back and forth too.
yeah, I didn't really think about that, Amy, because, you know, when one of the days he met her, he told no, it was Nate told investigators he saw Chris go to the side of the house and come out and walk to go meet Nichol. And he knew that that was odd that he didn't just walk out of his garage to go where he was going, or he didn't walk out the front door. And Nate mentally took a note of it, but also was kind of like, I'm going to stay out of your business, right? Like, I'm not getting the guy in trouble. But later he brought that up to investigators, you know, a couple
Mhm.
weeks ago. I think it was like 2 weeks after August 13th. He said, I saw him come out the fence line, which usually he doesn't do. And he just took a mental note of it. So many interesting pieces, like, you know, Betty in the neighborhood noted seeing a car with the camper. I mean, so many observant
Yeah.
people in this case.
And I mean, what if he did have an accomplice, but it wasn't NK. It was just
Right.
somebody else.
So many
So
and it was interesting too when he was being investigated, and Tammy Lynn said, I want you to give me examples of how you could, you know, do something to someone. And I mean, almost he comes up with all of these examples, but the last one is strangle, right? The last one that you did is the one you did. You know, he's like, you could make a trap, you could hire someone, you could, you know, it's like he's avoiding saying one of
yeah,
the most important factors in the case.
I literally would not play those games in an interrogation. I'd be
Oh,
like, ugh, what
well,
does that even mean?
yeah, she said she wanted him to know that I want to know what your thoughts of having involvement is. Kind of like the same thing we were just talking about what is your example of a dark thing, because she could ask Chris on the polygraph, was Nichol into dark things? And in Chris's mind, he thinks doing yoga is dark, then he's going to be telling the truth, when in reality, it's, you know,
Oh, it's definitely an interrogation
yeah.
technique to try to get into their mind. Because I've heard like they ask those questions to try to see what motions they make, you know, to see if they were strange. It's just they do these things to try to get into their heads, but also try to figure out the crime itself. But I think we watch too much. I watch too much true crime. And also I'm an ex-social worker. So, you know, how many tests have I administered where you ask the same question 50 different ways? Like I know what's going on in a test. So, you know, It's hard to unlearn those things.
I gotta say, you know, after watching a lot of these videos back, I never noticed before how much of an awkward silence, and it's a tactic that FBI agents use in interrogation, is awkward silence can often make that person start divulging information because the silence alone is killing them. And if you go back and listen to the interrogation room, you can hear that clock ticking, like boom, 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 you know, like it is just, you can tell it's making Chris uncomfortable, and he's just divulging anything that can come out of his mouth.
Oh yeah. Yeah. Well, Chris is very uncomfortable with his own self. I can't even imagine. He was probably pooping his pants in there.
Oh,
I mean, he was eating his earwax, so you know stuff was going down. And Sherry Kate, you're right. I mean, I say that to myself. I put rationality into the irrational. I think we're all trying to put rationality into an irrational situation. So men and women have different gaits. Men have a larger stride and walk than women do. The morning of the murders, Chris Watts was captured on a neighbor's CCTV. So this is more of the clip. Do you see a man, Chris, or do you see a woman? So this was the first person that we see walking back and forth. And this was a motion detector, so it only was triggered when there was motion.
I feel like it's the same walk.
Yeah.
Whoever it is.
Okay. That is a different person.
Yeah. And I've tried to brighten my video to see this clip, and I don't see it. And I'm not using videos, you know, from the internet. These are videos I actually requested, you know, from Frederick.
Well, I want to pop over to where Kelly sent us the pictures. Let me see how I can make this. How do you make? All right, so she sent us these pictures, and how do you make this a full screen? I don't know how to make.
It's so hard for me to see.
Oh, wait, there. Okay, so you see over in the corner here, she did circle what she wants us to look at. So what we're looking at here in the corner are the shoes. So we see these white tennis shoes, right?
Yep.
We can agree that they're white tennis shoes. We see white tennis shoes, and then all of a sudden, boots.
Correct.
Why do we all of a sudden have boots? And we saw this in the video that we were just looking at. This one, we see the walking back and forth. We see the white shoes. And then when they lighten it, boots. All of a sudden, boots. When did he change into boots? I don't remember him ever. I don't remember anyone talking about him changing into boots. Do you?
No, and that's why I do feel that people are altering this footage. You know what I mean? Like,
well, it sent me down this rabbit hole, so now we're gonna have to go down the rabbit hole and do some more, because
now
this
what I'm doing
boots.
is looking up to see what kind of shoes Nichol was wearing with her police interview. Now I'm going
These
back.
are boots. And they were tennis shoes.
Is that a man or a woman to you?
I think this one is Chris Watts in the boots.
Agreed.
And I think that whoever is wearing the tennis, I don't know.
But it also kind of has like a feminine touch to it too, like the skinny leg, but it also could be because the camera is so far back. But now I'm going to see what kind of shoes she wore to go talk to the police.
Oh, yeah.
It was like the third interview where it's not the roundtable discussion. It's the one where she's alone with an agent. Now I want to know, because in that interview, you also see she's got her purse with her. So now I have to go down the rabbit hole and look at that.
Yeah, and I've got to pull up her walking. We've got to get the walking, because people have said that she walked in one of the interrogations. She walked in, and then we've got to get the walking of her at the funeral if we're going to do this. This is just part one, I guess, because if we're going to go down this rabbit hole.
I know. And so now I'm pulling up that video.
Okay, while you're doing that, I'll say hi to. I'll talk
she's
to
wearing
people.
white tennis shoes, and I'm gonna. Are you have access to email right now?
Yeah.
Okay, I'm gonna email this to you.
Okay.
She is wearing white tennis shoes when she's talking to police.
Rena says hi. I think she was there. Old boots for the morning project and new boots after completion. I do know that he did have, like, he was wearing his old clothes that morning.
And he threw them away. You know, something that always sticks out to me that is just really heartbreaking. So he admitted he threw his clothes away after in a dumpster over by the house. And they kept asking Chris, like, what did you do with the stuffed animal? And what did you do with the blanket that, you know, you hurt them with? I'm going to just use the word hurt, you guys, to avoid getting nicked. And he said, I can't remember. Well, he probably threw it away with the rest of his clothes. And just like, how heartless can you, I mean, it just doesn't get, I mean, the whole thing is horrible, but the fact that you just like threw away their stuffies and their blankets, like, you know, I know what he did to them is horrible too, but, you know, like driving back after he did that, he just threw it away, you know, no guilt, nothing.
Yeah, workers said they had never seen him like that before. And also, I don't think she's a NK sympathizer. I think she just wants to get to the bottom of it. I guess you could say, yeah, maybe I'm a sympathizer too, because I don't know if she did it or not. Like, I always say that I 90% think that she didn't do it, that there's 10% of me that thinks she did. But I mean, I just don't know. And I don't think not knowing and saying you don't know, it makes you a sympathizer. So.
And Sherry, I respect your opinion. You know, you can think that. I am just the type of person, like, I am fact driven. I would hope you would expect that from me being a former journalist, that I'm not going to give you information that's swayed in any way to believe me or not believe me, and just give you facts. And unfortunately, I wish I had the answers, and I don't.
Yeah.
But I'm trying to look at this at both sides. I'm trying to look at it as, could it be a woman who is really that dark and did this? Or could it be a woman who just made some really bad decisions getting involved with a psychopath?
Well, Sharon's been with us for a long time, so I'm sure she knows that she's open-minded to all of that. So.
And I'm new to you guys too.
Yeah, you're new to Sharon, so
yeah.
I was just trying to explain who you were to Sharon. Okay. Sharon knows who we are, and we love her. Okay, guys. So what do you guys think? Do you think that this is NK? I had some other things.
Okay. Check out your email. I just sent you that.
Oh, also, I wanted to. Oh, yeah, you're sending me something.
Yeah.
Also, when doing this, did you know that Nate had another camera? I never knew Nate had two cameras. Did you know that?
Yes, and they didn't ask him for more footage. Like,
yeah.
what? And I
Why?
think there was a neighbor across the street who also had a camera, and they didn't ask for that footage either. Michelle G says, yes, she was there.
Where does everyone stand on check the knives comments to
Oh,
NA from? Oh, yeah.
I'll let you go first.
Well, if I'm being truthful, there's some shady, weird stuff that went on the recheck side too, and on like I thought that was an odd comment, and I also think another weird thing was Nicole Atkinson's asking if she was going to be arrested. I think that was a weird comment too.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
I don't know what to think about it, to be honest. I think there's things on both sides that we're not aware of that we're just not aware of.
sure. I mean, did she mean it in check the knives because Shanann could have harmed herself, or check the knives because did Shanann use a knife to take on an attacker? And I don't have the answer to that because I don't know, some of the history of why Sandy would say that.
I don't know. I can't. Sandy's a hard one to read, in my opinion. Uh, sh- she's hard to read because there were weird, like she said that she called the school that day too, but she had no idea she was missing. So why would she call the school?
Yeah, I think Sandy has some intuition gifts for sure.
She must.
Yeah.
Sandy has a near death experience. And I think when that happens, people come back with some stuff, like with some gifts. And she must because.
Well, she woke up and she said on Dr. Phil that she woke up and she thought something was wrong with Shanann. She woke up everyone in the house. And I would love to ask her if I ever had the opportunity, did you text Shanann or did you call? Because I'm so close to my mom that I think if she woke up in the middle of the night and had that panic feeling, she might just shoot me a text and be like, I just had a nightmare. Are you okay? So I'm curious if Sandy
I think that's the thing.
reached out or not.
I think that's the thing that Sandy never called her. Like that was a weird thing. Like, if she had those intuitions, why did she not call Shanann? Why did she call the school instead?
And maybe she has a little bit of guilt for that if I would have called, would things be different? But I think Frank and Frankie tried to calm her down and be like, everything's fine. She's okay. Like you can kind of see in the interview that she was in a panic, but they kind of chilled her out to relax. But if the experience was that intense, which it sounded like it was, would she not just shoot her a text and be like, are you okay? I was thinking about you
Yeah.
this morning. I just want to make sure you're okay.
And they talked so much. I mean, but I didn't know this either. I didn't know that Ronnie was in on it just as much as the Rucheks, talking to the girls every day and being in touch. I mean, that's just like sweet.
And I think that's where if someone wants me to say like a Watts sympathy, or I have sympathy for the Watts family, I'm going to be honest, I do. When I look at everything I do see two grandparents that were very involved with their children's lives and that they loved them. Did people make some stupid mistakes by going against their mother's wishes of having things in the house that they shouldn't have? Yep. But also, sometimes an older generation doesn't always believe in allergies or, what have you. And I can't speak to her opinion on it, but Ronnie loved those girls and he FaceTimed them every day that he could. And he was constantly on Facebook liking or commenting on Shanann's posts. So my heart does go out to that family.
I do feel sorry for the Watts. At first, I was like, in the beginning, seeing the way they behaved, I thought it was horrible. But I feel like we're too judgmental as a society. You know, I don't want to be judged, so therefore I'm not gonna sit there and judge somebody on the way they behave when they lose their granddaughters and grandson. And even if you didn't like our daughter-in-law, and let's be honest, she didn't like her, they didn't like her. But it was still part of your family. And yeah. And they said horrible things, but and I think having her as a mother-in-law was probably a nightmare. And I think that having her as a nightmare, probably Shanann probably did do things to push her buttons, and it was a back and forth type of deal. And it was probably just best if they all parted ways, but that didn't happen. So yeah. I do feel bad for the Watts though. And the Watts would be, if I could interview anybody, well, if I could anybody, I think I definitely would interview Chris, just because. But if I could interview anybody besides that, it would be the Watts. I'd be very interested in what they have to say. But I'm also interested in the Ruchaks, but I feel like the Ruchaks aren't going to say much. So.
Okay, Amy, I'm trying to jump in.
All right. I've got two of you here now. I think she's having some audio, some issues. I'm going to remove you, both of you. I'm going to kick both of you from, there's two of you back here. I'm going to kick both of your things from the studio and just come back. Okay, she's having a few issues. Let me go over into chat while she comes back in. Nichol Kessinger, missing hair chunks along the hairline. Yeah, that's been coming out a lot lately. I've noticed that people are talking about her hairline, and they're also talking about her having marks and Chris having marks. Is that better for you?
Yep. My battery was dying, so I switched devices.
Oh, that's cool. Okay. Hi, CK.
Nicole,
Glad you caught it too.
I've seen that too. I also think a lot of people forget that Chris lied to his family, you know, and said from the very start, you know, Shanann was involved, and they didn't find out until sentencing day what actually happened. And, you know, something Rob and I talked about on one of our last lives is, how long would it take for a person to mentally actually like digest all that information and accept it? I think it would take years.
Yeah. What hair was found? I didn't know there was hair found in the back of CW's truck, actually. So we learn something new about this case all the time. There was hair in the back of his truck.
I didn't see that in the report.
I don't know what you're talking about, so I'm sorry.
But we've got 2,000 pages too, you know.
Yeah, I do think the
I'll
house
always say to someone, "What page in the report is that?" You know, but not everyone, you know, looks at it as intently as some of the people who go over the case over and over again.
It's been a long time too since I've looked at some of the reports, like 3 years. So
and
some
you
of it I
save
don't
them
remember.
to your desktop, because they are taking information out of it.
I don't have them because I got a new computer, so I don't really have a lot of my information. I think the house has energy as well. In fact, I was just thinking, because somebody sent me one of the little stones from the Watts house, you know, those, and I have it outside, and I walked by it the other day today, and I was like, and I've never really, they've sent it in this Tupperware container, and I've never opened it because I just don't know if I want that energy. I have not decided.
Yeah.
But yeah, I do think that the house has energy for sure.
Yeah, I could not live in it.
So you knew about the other camera. I didn't know that there was another camera in the neighbor's
Yeah, and I actually asked for I reached out to the Frederick, Colorado PIO. They call it a PIO. It's a public information officer. And that's who you would request reports from as a media, a journalist, a citizen. And I asked to see the video from when Nate claims a woman was seen. I want to call it, people call her the November woman, or the September woman.
September.
It is after the incident happened. A woman is seen going into the Watts house, but is not seen leaving. And you damn well know Nate gave them footage of this, right? So I requested the footage and was told we don't have any. But I did see police cam from the day they responded to that incident. But of course, we can't see that footage. And that's just an example to show people. Yeah, the September lady. That's just an example to show you guys things are left out. Like this is a great example. If Nate gave that video to the police department, they have it. And it's not being released. And they might say to me, well, we're not investigating it. It was just a call, so it's not something I need to release to you because it's not public information. It was just a tip, or, they could brush it off. But I'd love to see that video. I've reached out to Nate.
Or do they have the video? Was it even like
right?
That's, I mean, because that video has never been seen by anybody ever.
Yeah. And I got to give Nate props for not using that as a tool to kind of gain, I don't think he was looking to get famous or anything like that in the first place, but there's so many tidbits that people could leak out there to make money. And the dude is just going on with his life. He's trying to move on. And then there's some, people that continue to use the case to kind of stay out in the spotlight. You know what I mean?
Don't you think it was interesting that his mom wrote that book, though? I thought that was weird.
I'm trying to figure out if the book is real. Like, I've seen screenshots of the conversation with Cindy.
It's real. It's real.
So I'm kind of curious, and this is what was disappointing to me, is that Cindy has the opportunity to do something with this story. She could donate all of those proceeds to domestic violence victims, to St. Jude's Hospital, to victims of crime. Like, she could use this story to do some good. And if you're going to write a book, do something with it. But then, I don't know, she seemed to have pulled back. I don't know why, but I would have liked to see them do something good with the story.
Well, I think it's because the person wasn't letting her write the story. So she pulled out of it. But no, the book with Cindy was real, and then the book with the neighbor. But the book with the neighbor was like a fictional book, but it was also surrounding something. It was very weird. She also had some EVP videos that she put out and stuff like that, which just another one of those weird things in this case that make me scratch my head. But it is what it is. So here's Nate's house. This is the front of the house.
Remember, this is Nate's house. Pretty sure you remember it.
And this channel is Beth at Queen. Beat. What is that? Beth.
Be see on the screen.
Be that queen. Be that queen. Sorry, that's what it is.
Okay, so this house was for sale for a while, actually.
So this is the back of the Nate's house.
Anything happened, it was for sale. And I noticed something on the photos. There's like 66 photos on Zillow. Okay. So I was just looking around and I'm like, let's see if he's looking through the window. Can he see anything from the back? Because he seems to be very knowledgeable of what's going on outside. So I was like wondering, like, there's no way there's no cameras in the back. That is a freaking construction site. And if you could see here, he would have easily seen who the red car was, construction man that's carrying a shovel but not carrying a shovel. He would have caught that. He would have caught, the cars circling around that day. Then I noticed he does have a camera back there. And then if you could tell by the dead basket of plants right there, that's what I'm going by to see about what time this was, because it was for sale 2 different times by 2 different companies. Sometimes they do take retakes of photos. So, I mean, I just...
So you can see up here is the camera.
Yeah.
So
his mom currently lives in that house now. So
she used to. She doesn't anymore.
Oh, she doesn't. Okay. But it was for sale when everything happened, right? And then I'm sure no one's gonna buy it after, because then they've got looky-loos driving by all the time.
So this could fall under another. They have evidence, but they're not releasing it. I don't know.
Yeah. And then you could see how he was talking about that gate. That's where Chris came out to go walk, to go meet Nichol and get picked up by her. Or I think he parked the other car down the street, but he parked it far away, so where he had to walk. So, and I thought it was funny in the beginning of her video. You can tell she's trying to kind of say that Nate is just observant in the neighborhood. We always have that person in the neighborhood who knows what's going on.
The person that has this constantly.
Mm-hmm.
But he's got a camera. He doesn't even need to do this.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't believe. It's very weird that there was all the cameras, all the construction and stuff in the back, and there was no cameras to make sure nothing was happening. I don't know. Very odd. So that's really all. Did you? Oh wait, you were sending me something. Let me go in and see.
Oh yeah, it was just Kessinger walks into the interrogation room, so you can see those white shoes. And blue jeans, like you kind of saw in the surveillance video, but hoodie, blue jeans, purse, and white tennis shoes. So I would want to do a side by side of this walk into the door right there with the walk on that other camera.
Yeah, I wish she wasn't having to do the sidewalk like that. It would have been so much easier to see what she was doing.
But you would also think anyone that's involved with what they did would be smart enough to get rid of everything they wore that day.
Yeah. But I mean, this purse seems, even in the grocery store photo of somebody who thought they saw her. I mean, the purse, like, did she keep the purse? What video, Kelly? This is the video that I saw years ago. I'm hearing some feedback. Is that me or you?
I think it's yours.
Okay.
I can turn mine down a little and see if that helps at all. Oh, I don't know where Amy went, but while I wait, I'll kind of just go through some of your comments, you guys. Red Sonia said, I think Sandy picked up on what was going on in North Carolina, and she felt Chris did something to her. I agree with you.
Sorry,
No, you're fine. I was just going through comments while I was waiting for you to pop back. I knew you would.
Yeah. Sorry about that. I don't remember what I was saying. Totally forgotten. So you're going through comments?
Yeah, just taking a look at.
Does anyone, sorry, I took that right off your screen. I'm sorry about that. Does anyone think NA was a paid caretaker for Shanann rather than just a friend?
I don't think she was paid, but I do think that Um,
Caretaker. What kind of caretaker are we talking about? For when she had surgery or something? Like, what are we talking about?
no, that was a different friend. And I'm interested because you know what Jamie this is. And I'm wondering, I do know that Shanann's mom, Sandy, was friends with Nicole Atkinson because they were coworkers. I think they both cut hair together. And I think that Sandy just kindly said, please keep an eye on my daughter, while I'm not there. And she probably said, of course I will. I don't think it was an actual like paid job. I think it was more of, please just let me know how my daughter's doing kind of thing.
Jeez. I was thinking NK. NK was in my mind. Nicole Atkinson. Gotcha. Yeah, no, they cut hair. And I actually know somebody who worked with Nicole Atkinson. And I know somebody who worked with the girl that said she had the affair. And she is actually connected to Nicole Atkinson as well. It's a small town. There's a lot of connections. It doesn't necessarily mean they were involved, but yeah, there's a lot of connections. I don't think she was.
I've seen people go down the rabbit hole thinking Nicole's involved, and I don't think that at all. I think sometimes I think that maybe Nichol Atkinson was actually closer with Sandy than she was Shanann, but Shanann got her involved in Thrive. So it seems like they were, besties and hanging out all the time. But I think it was, you've got this history of a friendship, but also it was your mom's friend first and then became your friend and then kind of coworkers. So, but regardless, clearly the woman cracked the damn case open from the get-go.
Yeah, I hope that I would have a friend that if I was only missing for a few hours, friends, they would send out the alarm for me because I sometimes think I could be gone for days and nobody would know.
Right. I know. Yeah, and she was in, and another thing, she didn't back down. You could tell Chris kept saying, are you still at my house? Like, what are you doing there? I'd be curious to know what the hell took Chris so long to get back to the house. Because remember, he kept saying, I'll be there in 45 minutes. Well, 45 minutes, passed. And at that time, Sandy's on the phone saying, Nicole, I'm giving you permission to walk into my house. Like, screw what Chris says. And props to Nicole for not backing down, because technically the house is in Chris's name. So I could see where she would get uncomfortable interjecting herself, but she knew something was wrong.
Yeah, she knew. And just the way she looked at Chris on the police body cam, she was looking at him like she was terrified of him. Like she was really looking at him. You could tell of unsurety, like, have you done something horrible?
And even when they were looking at the phone upstairs, like they kind of touched hands for a second, and you can see Nicole kind of like flail her hand back, like I don't even want to touch you.
Yeah, like he had really done something. I'm sending myself that photo. You didn't send it to me in the email, so I'm trying to send it to me.
Okay.
And we'll close it out with that.
Oh,
so
I'm sorry it didn't go through, did it?
Oh, it's okay. We are working on a update with Dylan Talman, you guys. And
Dylan Talman, the gentleman who wrote the book when he was behind bars with Chris. We've been chatting with Jamie, his former girlfriend, and she did a lot of work into putting that book out there for Dylan. And then also, since they have broken up, I have spoken to Dylan's current girlfriend just to try to get both sides, of what's going on. And when we do this story, I want to be respectful to all parties involved and just let's, talk about the facts.
Sorry, it's taking a minute to open. Okay.
But
yeah, we want to be respectful.
Currently in jail, so that's why he probably has not personally responded to anyone's interview requests.
Well, there was a point where he wanted me to message him, but I just didn't have the money to do it. They had sent me how to message him, but I didn't have the money. We're making a little bit more now, so we'll be able to do stuff like that. So, and we are working on that. Probably expect it sometime next week. What is today? Saturday. It's so weird because I keep thinking it's Friday because I do my lives on Sunday, Monday, or Sunday, Wednesday, and Fridays usually. So, all right. So, but Dylan does have a new mugshot that we wanted to show you, give you a little. But let me make it bigger for you so you can see it. All right.
And, for those of you who don't know Dylan, he was in the unit with Chris while Chris was serving time. They were reading the Bible together, kind of Bible studying together, and connected and talked. And they decided to write a book together. So in our next live, Amy and I would kind of like to kind of recap what was in the book and talk about what's going on currently with that whole situation. Because many of you have tried to go find the book on Amazon, and there's a reason you can no longer get the book.
Yeah, we'll work on getting that all for you. And there are some creators that have read portions of the book online. So hopefully we'll have everything together. Everything that we're working on could possibly be considered ongoing. It'll be a part 1, part 2, just as we get more research and on the case. If you guys have anything you want us to cover, you can email us at parawomenradio@gmail.com. Or what is your email, John?
craftedevidence@gmail.com. And I'll put that in the comments so that no one has to memorize it.
Yeah. So if there's anything you want us to look at for you online, like we did for Kelly, let us know. And we'll take a look at it for you. We're not saying that we're going to agree with you or disagree with you. We're just going to look at it with you. So, because you know how we roll here. So there is parawomenradio@gmail.com. Don't forget that the women is plural. We're a plural type of situation. And as soon as I see crafted evidence up in the, I don't see, did you type it?
Oh, not yet. Oh, I typed it in my chat. That's why.
Oh, okay. So, you guys, that's what we have. That's what we're working on. What do you guys think?
Don't forget to give this a thumbs up, you guys. And we appreciate all of your support and joining us in the comments section. That really makes these lives the most fun, is engaging with you.
Yeah, let's go over and just look quickly and see.
What is today?
Oops, I hear myself again. Oh, God, this microphone. Okay, so you're right, because leave expensive equipment on construction sites. The DA knows. I think the DA knows something more. I do think they know more than they're sharing with us, but I don't trust law enforcement. So, I mean, to extent I do, and extent I don't. NA new family though, SR, they work together. Yeah, they all work together in the hair care field. I think that's why the MLMs were so prevalent too, because in hair care, that seems to be something big.
Oh, yeah, like a side hustle.
Yeah. That puzzled NK and her dad how Shanann's friend checked on her because she expects a morning text. Yeah, I don't think they expected that. I don't think they could plan if it was more than one person, and even Chris. I don't think he planned for the morning text. I don't think he did.
It's hard for me because I'm like, he knew she was on the phone all the time too. Like, did you not expect her, friends to come out and show love? I guess, I don't know. Maybe he didn't.
Yeah, if I had thought my friend was in there, I would probably have broken windows too.
Yep.
And just dealt with that later.
Yeah.
But
Well,
that's
it's
who
your
I
way to
am. I'm a
live.
run towards the fire kind of girl. I don't run away. I wish I ran away. I do. But I've learned, even like when I was robbed, I ran. I fought it. I didn't. I, I have a fight. I'm a fighter, not a flighter. I wish I was a
Yeah.
flighter. What are you?
I'm a fighter. And I
Yeah.
think, a lot of people are kind of shocked when they say Shenan didn't fight back. Part of me wonders that, was she in such shock that she kind of just like was paralyzed and thought, he won't really go through with this. He's going to take his hands off me at some point, but he didn't. Sometimes I think about that.
That, or she was incapacitated somehow,
Yeah.
because I know she would have, like, she had
Fought
the
back.
nails and she would, I mean, there are some marks and stuff, but I think there would have been more. So I think somehow he got her incapacitated, or yeah.
I 100%. I think it's more of what you're saying than anything, but I could also see where she would be kind of laying there being like, he won't actually do this to me. He's going to let go. He's just angry, or I don't know, what she was thinking. And those moments, those seconds are so crucial, in your life. But I think she absolutely was in shock. He even put his hands on her, because I do believe Chris was probably never ever touched her before, violently in any way before this. So she probably was in shock of like, oh my gosh, who is this person?
I definitely want to take a look at that. Was there abuse before? Because I have gotten some murmurings that there was some abuse between Chris and the girls before. And so, yeah, I would be very interested in, because, I worked for protective service, and I just would be very interested in knowing, putting that to bed, rest once and for all would be really nice.
Yeah, I don't believe that. And I did a video also on that CPS claim that people think is floating out there. And anytime a child dies, a CPS case is opened, and there was one open because Chris killed them. And it was closed immediately. So that wasn't like an open investigation that they were doing, like weeks before or anything like that.
Yep. Okay, well, I don't have anything else. Do you have anything?
No, I don't. I hope everyone has an awesome holiday weekend if you celebrate Easter.
Yeah, I didn't even realize it was Easter until today, or tomorrow's Easter until today. Holidays are always heavy for me. I don't really celebrate Easter, so. But it's so beautiful out. I've found this new place that I've been walking to the river and sitting. And today I saw there's a male and a female cardinal that lives in my tree, and they flew to the river with me. And I've been seeing a lot of squirrels, a lot of dragonflies.
I know and hummingbirds. I'm going to go lay in the hammock in a little bit and see if the hummingbirds come out.
Yes, it's Passover now too. So yes, for all of those that are celebrating this time, I interviewed Lorraine Warren once, and she told me that it's a misconception that the Halloween season is the time where the spirits are most active. It's actually this time of season, because this is when Jesus rose from the dead. So like the dead, this is a time of rising from the dead. So this is actually a more paranormal time than.
That's really interesting.
That's what she said. I don't know if it's true or not, but
yeah. Well, it makes sense. It's an interesting perspective for sure.
Nah, I don't believe that. I'm not going to repeat it either. So I think there's a lot of rumors out there about the people in this case, and a lot of them are just rumors because people don't like the people. So
yeah, for sure. But
okay,
yeah, if we can debunk them, we will.
Yeah, we will. All right. Thanks for joining me, Jen.
Bye. Thank you so much for having me.
Oh wait, first I want to show them your channel before you leave, real quick.
Oh, okay.
Sorry. Let me get it. I meant to do that before you left. Okay, so you guys, if you want to go to Jen's channel, this is what her channel. Oops, hold on. I've got it so big. Hold on, let me make it smaller. Oops. Oh, I guess it does get cut off. Okay, so Crafted Evidence Podcast. This is her. She does a lot of lives with Robert from Timeless Mysteries. We've done some lives with him as well. She covers a lot of the Watts case. She does some crafts, right?
Yeah, crafting, and I'm starting to dive into kind of sharing some of my health journey. And I hope, Amy, you know, we can do that too and do some health videos, because there's so many of us who are kind of dealing with some health issues out there. So I want to do that. I want to do some meditations together. I think that would be awesome.
Yes. Yes, I have a second channel called Feel Good University where I'm going to teach people how to learn to feel good about themselves. And I think that would be a perfect place to do that kind of stuff. So yes, definitely I would love to be included in that. So we will put the link to Jen's channel down in the show notes. Be sure to go over and check her channel out, subscribe, and do all that good stuff.
All right. Thank you guys. Have an awesome weekend.
Okay. Bye, Jen.
Bye.
Okay, guys, you heard me mention that I went down to the river and I'm seeing more and more dragonflies. But did you know that our membership program over on YouTube is called the Dragonflies? Here, let me show you something about it.
And if you're not subscribed, why are you not subscribed? I would really, really, really love to have you as a power subscriber. If you really like my content, be sure to become a dragonfly, and that's our membership, and it's $2.99 a month. I release all my videos early. We have special emojis over in the chat room. I kind of share things ahead of time with my dragonflies, and I go live sometimes just for the dragonflies. It's a way that I can support you guys and give you more content, and it's a way for you to support our channel. It's $2.99 a month, and I would love to have you.
Okay, and I put the link down in the chat. It will also be over in the show notes. Please come and support us so that we can support you back. And yeah, okay, guys, I'm gonna go. If nobody's told you this today, and even if they have, I'm still gonna tell you this. Hold on, I forgot that I got booted out, and I gotta pull up my closing outro. If nobody's told you this today, and even if they have, I'm still gonna tell you this. I love you guys so, so much, and you mean the world to me. Bye, guys.
Carefully strumming this old guitar, words rolling out into the fire. Never ask why my heart burned blue.
Be sure to give this live a thumbs up. Helps me go out into the algorithm party out there. Bring more people back to the party. It's just a free way to help me.
Here in the darkness, I hear my cue. Time to find some solitude. Here where my soul bleeds openly, deep in the heart.